worldwide, and what would you like to say to the ministers around this table who are trying to do it?
Yes, I traveled a lot in order to prepare this exhibition, and I met also ministers and politicians. And their support, of course, is key for this industry. It's a clean, safe, reliable and affordable energy, and so nothing can be done without their support. It's all about sovereignty, because it's the autonomy of a country. It's of course energy autonomy, but it's also geopolitical autonomy. So of course, well, the support is key. The second point also is you need stability and long-term investments, and of course it can be provided only by the governments. They can't be stop and goes, because it's very detrimental to this industry. So again, your support is key. Now there's more acceptance of nuclear energy. The public opinions is almost all countries are in favor of nuclear energy. Of course, there are some exceptions, but those exceptions are not in the public opinion. It's mostly from government. And so it has to be addressed, of course. And if we want something which is very efficient, of course, well, the help should come from the government. I can take the example of China. I was ambassador to China, and I travel every year to China. And last time I was there, they told me that, well, they decided to have 10 new nuclear plants each year. It takes 58 months for the first of the series, and afterwards it takes only 48 months. So it could be an example. The minister was saying it should be on time and on budget. So I think that's the example that should be followed by other governments.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Peter. You're currently managing the largest nuclear project in the EU under construction. So we talked about making things happen. Can you tell us about the status of the project and how is it progressing?
Sure. Roland, thank you so much for the invitation, and I'd like to wholeheartedly express our appreciation to the French government to lead the Global Nuclear Alliance, not only the European one. And we are thankful to our friends in Canada and in the United States as well to stand up for the cause. You know, I'm representing a small landlocked country which is not among the biggest gas or oil providers of the world, but our industrial capacities are increasing very rapidly. Therefore, we know that the demand for electricity in Hungary is going to increase exponentially in the upcoming years. And the only way that we can supply the highly increasing demand of electricity in Hungary in an environmentally protective, cheap and stable way comes through nuclear energy. Therefore, we have now two projects running together. Lifetime extension for the already existing nuclear reactors, 4 of them, and building 2 new reactors, altogether 2,400 megawatt of performance. And we are proud, Roland, not only the fact that we are currently managing the biggest nuclear project of Europe, but we are proud of the fact that the best European companies are working together on this project. And I have to tell you that for us, nuclear industry seems to be one of the last resorts where common sense is still there, and where an east-to-west, west-to-east cooperation is still possible. Look, Rosatom is the main constructor of the plant, given the fact that the contract was signed back in 2014. But if I look at the list of the most important subcontractors, it's Framatome, it's Arabelle Solutions, a member of EDF group, obviously, and it's Siemens. So this is a clearly international project, east-to-west cooperation. And now, thanks God, We are not under sanctions neither by the US nor by the European Union when it comes to our nuclear project, so we can accelerate that. And the reason to accelerate that is that without nuclear, we will not have safe supply of energy in Hungary on long term. And without nuclear, we cannot maintain the lowest electricity prices of Europe for our families. So therefore, all negative discrimination against nuclear industry goes very, very much against our core national interest. So on the current status, 2 million of the 3.5 million cubic meter of soil has already been excavated. 43,000 of the 75,000 pillars have been now in the ground when it comes to the soil improvement. Soil improvement has been completed under both nuclear islands. 30 of the 124 necessary construction erection buildings have been constructed. 47 are under construction. When it comes to long lead items, they have been under production in 6 cities of 3 countries, including France here again. So welding of the first pressure vessel, forging of the second pressure vessel, the production of the second core catcher are underway in Russia. The production of the internals of the pressure vessel is going on in Germany. And the construction of the structural elements of both steam turbines have been going on in France, in Belfort. So there's a very heavy French presence and a very heavy and very significant French contribution to this investment. Since the last permits are underway, the first concrete will be in ground at the beginning of February. And after the first concrete being in the ground, legally it is going to be considered as a nuclear power under construction by IAEA standards as well. And the 2 reactors have to be connected to the grid at the beginning of the next decade. This is where we are at right now.
Great. So you'll come back in the next decade and tell us it's working. It's
hopefully, yeah.
That's great.
It depends a lot on the French subcontractors as well.
They're all there. They're listening. They got the message on time, on budget. Let's move to Poland, Wojciech. Thanks for being here. Tell us about the status of your program, and especially because I know you're willing to put a lot of emphasis on that, on talent, on supply chain, on the ability to use local content for your program.
Indeed. Thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, especially for a country, representing a country that is sort of a newcomer in the nuclear sector. But I must tell you that even if we do not operate a civil nuclear power plant, we have a lot of experience in nuclear. Polish companies have been present in the major European nuclear projects. They have been working as subcontractors in Finland, in France. They have been working in the UK. So we already have a lot of experience in developing nuclear projects. We have a research reactor, but we are now starting to build our first civil nuclear power plant. As a fact, we think that, and we started the discussion about first nuclear back in 2011. Then the Fukushima happened, and there was a certain break in developing the project. But then again, around 2019, we have restarted the project. It was at the time when, especially at the EU level, everyone was pushing for the green agenda. And already at the time, we thought that nuclear, at a certain point in time, going to play a crucial role because it's a dispatchable, clean source of electricity. So we can rely on it in order to secure our grid stability, security of supply. But we now see that nuclear has become much more popular. Everyone now is speaking about nuclear. And we think that Poland, having already some experience in nuclear, can be a part of this global nuclear revival. We believe that large and complex projects like nuclear can also serve as a good tools to boom the economy. We have Polish government has secured 17 billion US dollars for the first project. It's gonna serve as the equity injection for the first NPP. The remaining 70 we're gonna rise as debt. But spending 17 or even more billions of government budget money, it should somehow translate into trying to boost our economy as well. Of course, we don't have a technology provider, so we need to buy technology abroad. The first NPP will be built by the Americans, AP 1000 and Bechtel as an APC contractor. But for the second one, we have just started the competitive dialogue. We have invited the French government, American, Canadian government, Korean, so we're going to discuss to all of them. But again, you asked about the local content, you asked about boosting local economy. It should be a part of the nuclear revival globally, but also, I mean, this local angle should be taken into account. We want to make our already experienced companies being part of this Polish project, but also give them opportunities to grow and to work globally. That's why, speaking about the first one, speaking about the second one, we want to engage our local business into these global supply chains. So the first NPP with the Americans, the second we're going to see is going to be the most competitive in the process. We want to work with them to develop Polish local content, but also to allow, as I said already several times, grow our economies globally. And we want to take an important part in the process of the nuclear renaissance. And I believe that as we are gathering here today, it's a great opportunity for the governments, regulators, businesses to discuss. Because we're at the moment when nuclear can get back the place it's really deserved, and we should just work to deliver, and that's my first message here.
Well, thank you, and the French contractors here are listening very carefully about the stage of the second wave. Minister Gerwin de Sharon, you're committed to having commercially operated nuclear reactors by 2032, I believe. So can you tell us more about your plan and how to deliver it?
It's an aspiration rather than a plan. But I think to get, Philippines has always had plans to get back to nuclear. We did have the Bataan nuclear power plant, which was mothballed right before it was turned on. So now we are reviving it. And so to revive, I wanted to say that in Southeast Asia, the Philippines is probably the more advanced in terms of nuclear program, because currently Southeast Asia, there is no nuclear power plant yet, and everybody's trying to start the program. Now, why is the Philippines more advanced? It's because of I think it's the political will, the whole of government approach, and also the assistance that we get from all the other countries. So how do we get to the ambitions of the Philippines in getting the first nuclear power plant by the next decade? We passed the law on Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and then our policies are all in place already on who will be the off-taker. Now we just need a developer to come in. And that will be private-driven, basically, with I think supposedly with the government participation. But in order to, and all our policies are in place, all our agreements with the other countries are already either done already. 1, 2, 3 agreement is finished already. We're supposed to sign something with the French government, also the Canadian provinces, and all the other countries who have entered, including Korea and Japan. So it's there must be a complete investment of all the stakeholders. So now we also are including the other agencies, not just energy, the national defense, environment. They're all getting trainings for whatever capacity building they need. So it has to be a whole of government approach. So for us to reach our ambitions of having a nuclear power plant in the Philippines by the 2030s, in 10 years, hopefully, we do it with getting help from the international community. Second would be the whole of government approach. And third would be the consistency of the political will. Because other countries have advanced but have backpedaled because it depends on the legislative or the public opinion. But now we are more determined and we are steady in our progress. So hopefully we get a license application by next year already. So it's been a good collaboration with other countries, France including. EDF has been very helpful to us. That's why I'm here. I flew all the way from the Philippines for 20 hours. They took me from the airport to here. So
and thanks for doing this, because I think you're coming from the furthest for sure at this table, and probably one of the furthest in the room.
But it's been a good collaboration with EDF, with CANDO, and all the other companies actually, KHNP. This has been very helpful to make sure, because everybody wants to make sure that we do it safely, secure, and with safeguards. So I think the only way for us to go is with the cooperation of everyone, including all the other countries that are helping us.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. Let's move to a country I know well, because I lived there for about 10 years. And I believe, but Stephen is going to probably tell me I'm completely wrong, but when you look at Canada, you kind of look at the map of the world of energy, because each province has made different choices, probably linked with also their geography. So a lot of dams and hydro in Quebec, obviously oil and gas in Alberta, but in Ontario you made the choice quite a while ago of going nuclear, and I believe you keep on betting on that choice, which I believe is a great choice. So can you tell us about how to manage public perception in such a diverse energy country with, I know this much, very diverse opinions, very diverse population, how you manage this as a province that's been at the forefront of nuclear for a long time?
Well, it's an honor to be with you all today. I think, Minister Lescu, you said earlier, you challenged the room on time and on budget. The reason why Canadians overwhelmingly support nuclear power is because our government and OPG, Ontario Power Generation, has been delivering the largest refurbishment on time and on budget. I want to repeat that for those at the back of the room, because this is the competitive advantage of Ontario. We are leading with ambition. We are building the largest nuclear reactor proposed in Port Hope in Wesleyville, up to 10,000 megawatts of power. We're a nation with indigenous technology of CANDU, where we operate 18 of 19 nuclear reactors. We are refurbishing the entire nuclear fleet. We're building 15,000 additional megawatts of net new, clean nuclear power. And perhaps today, most relevant is we are building the first grid-scale small modular reactor in the G7, a huge achievement, a GE Hitachi technology that we are pioneering in Ontario. The first of this fleet will be built by 2030, connected to the grid. This is an achievement. It's nation building. It's 18,000 construction jobs. We're talking about $40 billion of gain to the national GDP, with export opportunities being secured around the world. And strong collaboration with Poland as a case study of our ongoing partnership. My message really today is Canadians support nuclear power, Ontarians most particularly. Remember, colleagues, the largest uranium processor on Earth is in Ontario. We have the highest grade uranium in Saskatchewan, in the province just to our west. And we are leading a national vision. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Alberta, Saskatchewan, provinces who are not nuclear powers, who are putting their hand up with a serious interest to engage with and frankly lean into non-emitting Canadian technology and power. This is our industrial strategy. 80% of our supply chain is using Canadian business. We are open for business. Many French companies do business with us. But the bottom line is our mission is affordable power, clean power, reliable power, and that's why we are very proud to lead an ambitious program that's delivering jobs and growth for the people of Canada.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Let's focus on quite a few of the challenges ahead and maybe start with Peter. You know, I alluded to the fact that nuclear energy is not necessarily the sole solution. There's a massive challenge about diversification policies. How can you handle this in Hungary? Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, you know, Hungary is a country which is dependent on energy imports. This is because of geography and physical reality. But if we want to be more and more independent or less dependent on the international energy markets and have some more defense or protection against the hectic changes of prices and supply and demand of the international energy market, then we have to increase our nuclear capacity as much as it is possible, because basically this is the only way. So diversification for us is a key, but we stick to the original meaning of diversification. For us, diversification does not mean replacing some sources with others. For us, diversification means that you add new sources to the already existing ones. And another major principle is that everything what we decide must be our sovereign decision. So we stick to the principle that making decisions about your national energy mix must remain a national competence, and no federal centers like Brussels can interfere into such decisions of yours. So when it comes to diversification on nuclear, what it means for us. I told you that Rosatom is the main contractor of our new nuclear project, but the control and command system is going to be delivered by a consortium composed of Framatome and Siemens. The turbines are going to be delivered by Arabel Solutions, a member of the EDF group. The excavation and the soil improvement has been carried out by a big German conglomerate called Bauer. When it comes to fuel, we have signed a contract with Framatome to supply us on the basis of their cooperation with 12. From 2028 onward, it's realistic. We have now been negotiating with Westinghouse to add American nuclear fuel, first time ever, to our nuclear energy mix. It is realistic from 2028, 2029 onwards, given the fact that the permitting procedure will last like 2-3 years. And we are now negotiating with an American company, Holtec, to use their technology when it comes to the storage of spent fuel. And as Minister Lecce has said very rightfully, the future lies within the SMRs. So we have signed MOU with GE Hitachi, by the way, in order to start using SMRs in Hungary, because we are breaking the records of investments in Hungary year by year, having huge industrial settlements. We are the only country in Europe besides Germany where all 3 German premium car makers are present with factories. Soon we're going to produce 1 million cars a year, and we're going to be number 2 in the world when it comes to production capacities of electric batteries for the automotive industry. So that requires a huge volume of electricity, and for us the most attractive way is to build SMRs, an SMR next to a big industrial location, you know, just being connected directly and being supplied directly from there. So this is the way how we think about extension and diversification of the nuclear industry in Hungary.
Thank you very much. Sharon, you already alluded to it, but maybe let's dig deeper into it. You know, how does your multidisciplinary experience help to build public trust in the nuclear program? Safety, regulatory oversight, transparency. As we said earlier, I think this is key.
Well, if you do we have done 2 surveys, national surveys in the Philippines. It's very high, the acceptance rate, even though we don't have a nuclear power plant. The first one was back in 2018, I would say, around 72%. And then recently, 2 years ago, we did another survey. It's somewhere around 70%. So the acceptance rate is good. But then a few months ago, we mentioned the possible sites, and the debates started because it's always not in my backyard. But I think it's a healthy way to do it. Let the public discuss or debate about it, because we cannot construct anywhere that the community does not want. So what we do is a continuous cooperation with our Philippine Communications Office. So they do the campaigns, and we are also doing campaigns in schools, like nuclear caravans, nuclear debates. So we try to mobilize that. But I think the ultimate goal for them to accept where we will put the nuclear power plant, I think that will be a different kind of approach, because that will really involve the communities, and we need to focus on what benefits they have. So we have recently issued a policy that wherever the first nuclear power plant will be, there will be benefits to the communities. Hopefully a discounted electricity rate, so that so that there's more acceptance in the communities. But it is not easy for us, especially whenever, like as I mentioned, there has been several attempts to bring back nuclear in the Philippines, and like mentioned earlier, there's Fukushima and all the other disasters that we have had, 3 only. But it always we had always to take a back step. So now we're involving all agencies already. We're involving all agencies. In fact, I'm here, and we're inviting I have with my team other energy government corporations, and also our private companies are also here, because it has to be a public and private effort. So we do it in tandem, together with the private. So hopefully the acceptance rate where we build it will be a better rating. But it is not easy for a country like us. It's country that is very vulnerable to natural disasters, especially earthquakes. We had a series of earthquakes just last month, like, I'm not sure, like 6 earthquakes in 1 week. But we are also vulnerable in terms of typhoons that we get. But that is exactly why we reason out that we need nuclear. Philippines is one of the lowest in carbon emissions, but we are the most vulnerable country that as a result of the emissions of the other countries. And in our own way, we are trying to lower emissions, because we know how it is when you are a victim of climate change. And I think this forum is one of the best solutions.
Well, thank you. That's interesting, and you can see that leading by example when you're faced with the direct consequences of global warming is probably a push for also the public opinion to be behind you. Stephen, you guys have shown the positive impact nuclear energy can have on grid stability, on economic growth, on talent management. If you had 2 or 3 lessons to give to other countries on how to do it well, and how to make sure that, again, nuclear energy brings all of these beside benefits to the overall growth of a country, what would you say?
I think, first off, part of Canada's and Ontario's leadership and our Ontario nuclear advantage fundamentally is because we've used a fleet approach to technology. Look at the CANDU reactor. It's been designed, replicated, built in this country, and really exported around the world. It has been one of the best continuous nuclear generators on Earth. And it, of course, as you know, heavy water technology that does not require enriched uranium, but it has been extremely efficacious at keeping the levelized costs of electricity down for ratepayers. We build public support by making sure energy is affordable for the families who pay the bills. And I think that is our advantage. The second, beyond the fleet, is the supply chain. There are 80,000 direct workers benefiting from the nuclear expansion in Ontario, and there's many more to come. So the fact that there are families connected to it, there are communities that are dependent on this economic investment is very powerful. And I think finally, it's the realization that it's not just about energy. Part of our advantage with CANDU and other technologies is the ability to harvest medical isotopes. So many of our families have been affected by cancer. 50% of the world's cobalt-50. We look at, over 50% of the medical isotopes used for neck, head, and cervical cancers are coming from Ontario's CANDU fleet. We have invested heavily because we see this as a way to save lives. And so by diversifying, by fleet approach, by using local supply chains, transparently communicating the low-cost energy for families, we've been able to build public trust and frankly be able to export this path to the world. And on the stage, it was mentioned, the Polish minister as one example of collaboration between our nations and across the Atlantic. And we want to help promote this to those that share our values and those that want to decarbonize. Because fundamentally, in Canada, the 18 of 19 nuclear reactors in the province of Ontario have displaced 80 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions. That is the equivalent of removing 15 million cars from the road. So there is strong underpinning of support based on the economics, the affordability of power, and the clear path to decarbonization. There is no other way than by the embrace of nuclear reliable baseload power. So there's a lot to share, and I think frankly part of this forum is to help remind the audience that we have done something right by building, as I mentioned earlier, on time and on budget on these large-scale refurbs.
Keep on saying it, on time, on budget, guys.
Not just that, could I just say, we returned, no, I'm sorry, you got me going here. Unit 1 at Darlington, we returned it to schedule 180 days ahead of schedule and below budget.
Okay,
So
don't set the bar too high. Don't set the bar too high.
I know.
Wojciech, France and Poland have been leading founding members of the European Nuclear Alliance. What lessons would you draw of that? How did we succeed at the end of the day of winning that battle, as I said earlier, and how can Europe be, again, one of the leading champions of nuclear energy in the future, despite different analysis and approaches from different countries?
First of all, thank you that, as Minister Scharter said, France is a great leader of nuclear within Europe and globally. And I believe the nuclear alliance that we have within the European Union serves as a very good example of how we can cooperate. And I must tell you very frankly, a couple of years ago, thinking about the construction of a new nuclear power plant, Europe was very, very difficult. The European Commission, the European Union was setting targets for renewables. The market design was, and still to some extent is, much more favorable for renewables than for stable base load. But our cooperation within the Nuclear Alliance at the Council level has helped to launch that discussion about the need of nuclear within the European energy systems. And I believe that now, and we are facing this at every Council meeting, and as you said in your introductory speech, even the countries that are not currently thinking about constructing new nuclear are saying very clearly and openly that we need nuclear in our energy systems because it can contribute to the system security, because it can deliver clean and dispatchable capacity. And in Europe, we need electricity when the wind is not blowing and the sun is not shining. And Poland, as a nuclear newcomer, has always drawing great experience from this discussion. And I believe there is still a lot to do ahead of us. Because then, according to the EU treaty, and rightly Minister Scharter said, it's a national competence. So every member state has the right to choose its energy mix, and it's a treaty provision. But we also need a great cooperation with other EU institutions like European Commission, Acer, because we need also having the market being organized and functioning in a way when nuclear can be serving as a cheap source of energy. I mean, it cannot serve as a backup capacity renewables because then it doesn't make sense. I mean, we need to guarantee at the EU level that nuclear can work as a base load, because then the effective cost of megawatt hour is effective. And again, I can only be very grateful for what you have done at the EU level in order to deliver this nuclear renaissance. And as Poland, we're always very happy and keen to work together and push the nuclear agenda forward.
Thank you. Okay, we'll finish that. We have about 3 minutes left with Sylvie Berman. I'm going to ask a non-diplomatic question to a diplomat, so she's not going to like that. But you have been an ambassador to China, to Russia, to the UK, 3 big nuclear nations. What is the perception of French nuclear in the world?
You know, in fact, because France has an industry that covers the whole cycle and with almost 2,000 companies, so we have a lot of expertise, and it's really welcome in the whole world. In China, it was the time of the construction of Taishan, which was very successful. And what was interesting also is that it was not only EDF, of course, but it was also 100 small and medium companies, and we established a structure, and they started to cooperate with the Chinese, and not only in Taishan. So that is very good also for French industry. So we developed all those strategic partnerships and cooperation. We did so in the UK as well, because, I pushed for the signing of Hinkley Point C. I visited the Bear site, and afterwards I attended the signing in 2016, and also with the Chinese at that time. And so those who are cooperating in those power plants, be it in Taishan, in Flamanville, in Okiluoto, acquire an experience which is very useful, and so there is a lot of cooperation, and even for young people, which is very good. And I think it facilitates links, and not only diplomatic links, but also scientific and economic links. And I think it is very important. It is very diplomatic, and even when sometimes, the political relations are not so good. I haven't mentioned Russia, which is also a big country. Of course, everything changed with the war. But we had a cooperation, even if, of course, the Russians are also our competitors, but in uranium or other fields, we had also this cooperation. So as an ambassador, I think this strategic cooperation on nuclear industry was very positive and really appreciated by all those countries.
Thank you. We're 11 seconds late, so we were on time. And we're on budget. So guys, it's your time. Thank you very much to the 5 of you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the clarity of your advice, and good luck with all the projects, because it's very exciting, but now we have to deliver. Thank you, guys. Thank you.